Hello and welcome to the Strong, Healthy, Happy podcast. My name is Deborah. I'm really excited today to bring you this episode that I have called The Weight Loss Lessons That Changed Everything. And I'm really hoping that you're going to enjoy this episode and get a lot from it, especially if you listening to this right now have a weight loss goal and are working towards a weight loss goal. I want this episode to inspire you and also to highlight some really important benefits and things that happen outside of the weight loss alone. Now, I'm basing a lot of this podcast episode on a particular client who recently finished coaching. And the reason she finished coaching is because she was with me for some time and she had exceeded her expectations of what she believed was possible for her and is ready to go it alone, which is exactly what I want for all of my clients. And even if you are not a client and you're listening to this podcast and you're learning from these podcasts, which is the whole reason I record these podcasts, is a way to put out some free resources, free help, and support women who may not be in my coaching community. And it's just so important to share this information because if it helps just one person, it was worth the effort of me recording this podcast, but also it just makes me so incredibly happy to share these revelations that are experienced by women just like you, no different to you, who start off on a weight loss journey, who may have spent the whole of their adult life yo-yo dieting, starting again Monday, falling into the trap of being good all week, going overboard and spiraling at the weekends, leading to the starting again Monday cycle and repeating that every week, never really getting anywhere, not feeling comfortable in their body with how they look or how they feel. And so feedback that I'm going to share with you and the lessons that have come about from this individual's weight loss journey is so important to share. Now, what I want to say is that this client lost a stone, and her summing up of what she learned in coaching, which is what I'm going to be sharing with you. And by the way, this isn't just for one client. I have feedback like this for all of the people that I help and coach, even through conversations that I have. And I also get lots of messages from people that listen to my podcast that aren't a client, that are applying what they learn in these podcasts. So if you're here for the first time, welcome. Please do make sure you go back and listen to other episodes that may resonate with you. And if you're here and you're a regular listener, thank you so much for coming back. So this client did lose a stone in weight. She came to me to lose weight. That was her primary goal. She also was going in the gym, but just, not really knowing what to do when she went in there, not feeling very motivated in there, bit of this, bit of that type attitude, not really noticing any difference with anything in her from her training, not feeling very comfortable in her body. And along with this, she had a bad back, so was very fearful of doing certain exercises, lifting heavy, pushing herself in any way. And as a result of the coaching is what's important to highlight here is everything she learned outside of the weight loss, because when she talks to me about all the lessons that she learned as a result of coaching, she actually doesn't touch on the stone that she lost. Obviously, the benefits of losing that weight has impacted her health hugely and is important, but she actually doesn't really talk about the weight loss. She talks about everything else that she never knew would come about as a result of losing weight. She now feels so much more confident in the gym. She is also training so much more structured, harder. She is now doing all those exercises that she never believed she could do because she thought that they would cause more pain and aggravation to her back, but actually they've strengthened her back. She's feeling stronger. She's able to do exercises like deadlifts. She never thought she would be able to do an exercise like that. She was too scared to even try it. And I also want to add in here that she took part in a hybrid event as a pairs with another person and never believed that she would have the physical capability to be able to do that. And this is a woman in her 50s, and this was all completely new to her. So, lesson learned outside of weight loss number one, her confidence in the gym has really gone up tenfold, and her ability, recognizing what she's capable of, whereas before she was very fearful. She is really happy with the way that she looks and feels in her body. And she also recognizes that scale weight fluctuates. And this is a really big lesson, because prior to coaching, if she ever got on the scales, and even during the early stages of coaching, I get my clients to weigh in quite regularly, might be 5 times a week. Some people a little bit less, some people every day. But she used to really panic when the scales went up. Sometimes would send her into a reactory mode of thinking, oh God, it's not working. I'm wasting my time. I may as well eat the biscuit, eat whatever it is that she may have been compromising on or reducing. Now she understands that scale weight fluctuates. She doesn't react to it. She responds by not getting frustrated and just carrying on with what she's doing. And as a result, she recognizes that things will normalize, scale weight will come back down, and she feels so much better for it, because there was nothing worse than thinking what she was doing wasn't working, diving into the fuck it bucket, and then feeling awful, even worse after that episode, and then getting back on that cycle again of starting again, back on track, in inverted commas, being good. Now she knows it's just about normal life and getting back to the normal routine, and recognizing that as a human being, scale weight will fluctuate for a multitude of different reasons. And just to carry on and to, not to react to it. She has also, I'm just looking at my notes here, she calls it fuck it times. And she said that she used to have a lot of fuck it times. And that means she might have had a busy day at work. Maybe she might have missed a workout, or just, way back in her life before she even knew me and entered my community, just anything would be a trigger for her to go, fuck it, and disalign herself from actually what it was that she wanted to do. And it's not because she didn't care. It's not because she gave up easily. She just didn't understand how to respond to those feelings and emotions when life gets hard, when work gets stressful, when life throws us curveballs. She just didn't know how to manage them. And now she knows how to not use food or alcohol as a way to manage her feelings, her stress, her anger, her upset. She now knows that she can pick and choose the times that she may choose to have some alcohol, or may choose to perhaps overindulge a little. But she also now knows and has the strategies that we've developed as part of coaching to manage her stress and her emotions outside of food and drink. And it's helped her massively. And she feels so much better for it. She also feels so much more healthier and happier in her skin. She doesn't focus so much on the scales. She just knows how she likes to look and feel in her body and what feels right to her each day. And how she feels is a result of of the habits that she has in her day-to-day life. And these habits, I often call them the boring, repetitive habits that we do in day-to-day life. Getting your steps in, doing your workouts and your exercise, eating a nutritious and healthy diet, adding more veg to your meals, eating protein, like doing these boring basics all the time. These are your habits. She recognizes that how she feels is often as a result of the habits that she keeps repeating. And when she when she misses off her habits or drifts, because we do drift sometimes, she now has the awareness to bring herself back and put her attention on her habits and her behaviors, and recognizing that often how she feels in her body is down to feeling a little more in control of what she does each day and responding in a way to life's pressures and keeping the boring basics and those habits and behaviors consistent, not perfectly, but consistently. She also now recognizes the importance of what a balanced, healthy diet looks like. And, if I'd have asked her prior to coaching, do you think you have a healthy diet? She would have answered yes, reasonably, but now it's completely changed. The quality of her nutrition has changed. Her protein intake has increased. She understands what protein is. She understands how to fit it into her meals. She understands how much she needs to support her body, her health, her recovery, her muscle maintenance and repair. And, before she didn't really understand that. She has also learned how to enjoy her life while still working on her health and managing her weight. Before, she thought that life had to go on hold if she was going to focus her attention on losing weight or improving her health, or a bit of both. They are combined. Now she really recognizes that you can enjoy your life and still progress towards your goal. It doesn't have to be one or the other, all or nothing, on track or off track, being good or being bad. She now knows how to create that balance, that it's okay to indulge sometimes, but it's also okay to pull back, and how to not let things spiral. If you do enjoy a meal out with the family, a takeaway, she understands how to pick a healthy option, how to look at a menu, how to plan her social occasions that she can fully enjoy them in a way that feels right to her, depending on the type of social occasion, and still show up for herself the following day, get back to her normal routine. And this is a really big one, because a lot of people think that you can't do both, or if you do both, you're not going to make any progress, or you're like spreading yourself thin across. You really enjoy your social event if you're not turning up or showing some restraint at some points within that social event. And actually, you can do both, and you can enjoy yourself, and you can still stay aligned to your goals, and you can wake up the following morning and feel really proud of your choices and the way that you showed up for yourself and how you feel. My words as a recap to all this particular client's lessons that she learned and what she achieved in coaching. What I want to sort of summarize it by saying is, women come to me for help losing weight, and ideally teaching them to keep that weight off, because I teach women the tools to be able to do that. And in fact, it's reminded me that I left off a really important piece of feedback that she fed back to me. And that is, when we were working towards her weight loss goal, I introduced tracking. She started tracking using an app, her food and everything she consumed, so she could manage the amount of how she was eating, and I can manage that, have that visibility and make my recommendations and tweaks and suggestions. As we went through coaching and she was getting more confident and also quite repetitive with the general structure of her day, her meal timing, her food choices, we gradually phased out tracking. She no longer tracks, but she's maintaining her weight. And she now has the confidence to go alone, to go forwards in her life and apply everything that she's learned, and therefore maintain and keep off the weight that she has lost. Now, it is really important to caveat that when you keep off the weight that you've lost, there isn't like a set fixed number. It's really important for me to highlight here that keeping weight off still means that you will see fluctuations on the scale, because that's a part of life. But it's applying the lessons that she learned in coaching to not react to those scale weights and just to carry on, that ultimately will help her maintain her weight within a range that she feels really happy in, and that she likes herself and feels confident in her body. So it's really important to sort of highlight that if you're aiming for, a number on a scale, I would always deter from that, because scales will fluctuate, and it's accepting that you to live in a body within a healthy range, and that might be within a range of a few kilos up and a few kilos down, but generally within that range, and have the tools to be able to stay in that range. Sometimes in life, depending how your life looks, you might be at the lower end of that range, and sometimes in life, depending the season, time of year, social celebrations, your priorities, you might be towards the middle or a little bit on the upper end of that range, but you have the tools to be able to bring it back in a place where you want to get to and maintain. But the key kind of things that I want to highlight here and leave you with going forwards is that although women come to me with the initial goal of losing weight, and it's a very valid goal and one that's very important, not just to your health, but how you feel in yourself and how you show up for others. But what women value most outside of that weight loss alone is feeling in more control, breaking away from that relentless, exhausting cycle of starting again every Monday, that feeling of disappointment, that feeling of coming in from a night out really bloated and just not feeling good, learning how to not start again every Monday, that social occasions can be enjoyed, that you can still have fun and stay aligned to your goals. It's also about trusting yourself more around food. So, I talk about building trust around the foods you enjoy quite, frequently, whether it's in my social media, whether it's with myself and the lessons that I have been through, myself, finding that sort of not going overboard with those foods you love because they taste great, right? That's why you love them. But actually building trust around them, so you're not that person that says, oh, I have to eat it all or I don't buy it at all. Actually learning that you do have the ability to trust yourself around those foods that you love, and that you can find balance and moderation around them. The other things that women value most outside of weight loss alone is the feeling of being stronger. And I always emphasize the importance of taking your attention away from weight loss and instead focus on strength. And instead of focusing on losing weight on the scales, focus on increasing your weight in the gym. It's a great goal to have. It's a great focus to have. It will help you build more confidence from showing up for yourself, showing yourself that you can do things even when you really don't want to do them or you're not in the mood, that these things help build your confidence, that you will have and feel more energy, a better mood, and that you can enjoy life and manage your weight at the same time, maintain whatever your goal is. You are able to do that. And having the skills and the lessons learned to be able to do that is going to help you go forwards and achieve all these amazing things. If this sounds like, wow, I want to feel like that, then keep absorbing my social media, keep absorbing my podcast. There are so many podcast episodes. I actually can't remember how many great episodes I've recorded. It's only when I sometimes go back and think, oh yeah, I forgot I recorded that. So go back, look at the titles, read the show notes, see which podcasts shout out to you. And if you want some support, because having that support will give you additional accountability and my guidance and contact with me, obviously, as a client on a regular basis. Reach out for coaching. You lose nothing. You're not tying yourself in. You can ask me questions. I love helping women in any capacity that I can. So do reach out. There's a link in the show notes that will take you to an application form, a coaching application form. So I just want to say, if this particular client is listening, like, I'm so proud of you and a huge, huge well done. And look at the fact that I am recording a podcast based on you to inspire other women. So feel really, really super proud of yourself. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch up with you on the next one.